Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome. The March 5th meeting of the Baltimore County Planning Board is called to order. I'm Scott Holupka, Chair of the Board. We will now start the meeting with a roll call to account for the members of the board present. When you hear your name, please say aye. Mr. Array? Mr. Brady?
Aye.
Ms. Brophy?
Aye.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Ms. Sherman said she couldn't make it this evening. Mr. Heckman?
Aye.
Mr. Heinel? Mr. Hinton?
Aye.
Mr. Johnson? Miss Lilly?
Aye.
Miss Muneses?
Aye.
Miss Pinero?
Aye.
Mr. Schulman?
Aye.
And Mr. Tennant.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Will you now please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ms. Bensley, are there any changes to the tentative agenda as published?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
In the February 26th email, you should have received draft minutes from the February 19th meeting. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review the draft minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the February 19th meeting minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept the minutes as circulated.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion has carried. This evening, we have the opportunity to discuss and vote on the board's final recommendations regarding the fiscal year 2027 capital budget and fiscal year 2028-2032 capital improvement program. I'll now turn things over to Vice Chair Brophy, who has been chairing our CIP subcommittee.
Thank you, Chair Holupka. The Planning Board Capital Improvement Program process for fiscal year 2027 to fiscal year 2032 began on October 16, 2025 with a citizen input meeting held before the Planning Board. The board heard from citizens verbally and in writing who expressed their concerns relating to capital improvements for their communities. County Executive Kathy Klossmeyer made a presentation to the Planning Board on January 15, 2026. In her remarks, County Executive Klossmeyer noted that the budget process is more transparent and open with the continuation of the town hall meetings in every council district and the open budget platform. The Planning Board Subcommittee on the Capital Budget and Program held a series of meetings in January and February of 2026, during which representatives from the Baltimore County agencies presented their capital budget requests. The Department of Planning presented the staff CIP recommendations to the committee on February 19th, 2026. After much discussion, the CIP subcommittee accepted the staff recommendations for the fiscal year 2027 budget and 5-year program and suggested one overall recommendation to be included in the board's transmittal letter to the Director of the Office of Budget and Finance. The transmittal letter was sent to the board on February 26, 2026. Tonight, we will have the opportunity to further discuss the capital budget and 5-year program and the presented transmittal letter. Board members, are there still any outstanding questions or discussion on this matter? If you have any comments, you can just raise your hand. Okay, I don't see any.
Emily?
Go ahead, Scott.
I
You raised your physical hand, sorry.
sorry, yeah.
It's okay.
I have edits that I'd like to propose to the transmittal letter, and it's just a wording issue.
Okay.
In the second paragraph, the last sentence, It currently reads, with a strong emphasis on replacing aging facilities and infrastructure that require extensive maintenance and repair so that they do not currently address the needs of the communities, which I don't think is the intent. So my recommended edit would be replacing aging facilities and infrastructure that require extensive maintenance and repairs that do not currently address the needs of the communities. So strike the so and they. I think that gets at what we were intending.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the board on that change? Mr. Heckman? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, Scott, can you read the whole sentence or that whole
Sure.
second paragraph so I can get the context?
Sure. I'll read the whole paragraph.
Wait,
The
so
planning-
Scott, are you going to read it as you want the edit, or are you going to read it as it is now so that the board understands?
Mark, which would you prefer?
As you're proposing it now.
Okay, then I will read it as and like I said, it's just in the very end of the last sentence.
Okay.
The planning board's recommended capital budget and program reflects the agency's priorities. Once again, the planning board heard from several departments about significant backlogs in capital projects, including over 40 million in deferred road repairs and repaving, as well as years, if not decades, of neglected maintenance and replacement of infrastructure in county buildings, such as schools, libraries, and community college campuses. This issue is worsening, with one department indicating that it needs 2 years of capital budgets to complete just 1 year's worth of recommended repairs and maintenance. Therefore, the planning board recommends prioritizing these existing capital needs in both current and future funding allocations over the construction of new facilities or projects, with a strong emphasis on replacing aging facilities and infrastructure that require extensive maintenance and repairs that do not currently address the needs of the communities.
Any questions or comments on that edit? Ms. Munezes?
Yeah, Scott, did you say 40 million or 400 million?
It says 400. If I misstated,
Oh, okay.
that's my fault. It's 400
Okay,
is what's printed.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
If I may, Madam Chair, just
Please.
a clarification, please. So the way you've said this, Scott, what is it that does not address the needs of the community? Is it the repairs and maintenance? Or is it the aging facilities and infrastructure?
I was reading it as replacing aging facilities and infrastructure that do not currently address the needs of the communities.
Okay. I guess I'm looking for the modifiers and what it referenced. That's what I was unclear about. Okay, thank you.
Ms. Munezes, is that an old hand up or do you have another question?
That's an old hand, sorry.
It's okay. Any other questions? Director Lafferty, do I need an official vote on that edit or?
Yes, you
Since it's
should, since this will be a transmittal going to the county executive and to the director of OBF, it should be a modifier or
Okay.
amendment to the draft.
Okay, so Scott, do you want to go ahead and make a motion?
Sure. I move that we edit the transmittal letter so that the last sentence of the second paragraph at the end deletes the words so and they. So the new sentence will read, Therefore, the planning board recommends prioritizing these existing capital needs in both current and future funding allocations over the construction of new facilities or projects, with a strong emphasis on replacing aging facilities and infrastructure that require extensive maintenance or repairs that do not currently address the needs of the communities.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Second.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do a roll call vote. When I call your name, please say aye or nay. Mr. Array,
Aye.
Mr. Brady,
Aye.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Miss German's not here, Mr. Heckman,
Aye.
Mr. Heinel, not here, Mr. Hinton. I know, I saw him. Shafiq, you're
Sorry.
unmuted.
Yes, sorry.
It's all good. Mr. Halupka,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson, Miss Lily, Miss Lily,
Sorry, it wouldn't unmute. Aye.
Miss Munises,
Aye.
Miss Pinero,
Aye.
Mr. Schulman,
Aye. Sorry about that.
Mr. Tennant.
Aye.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. The motion carries. Are there any other comments or questions regarding the capital budget and 5-year program and transmittal letter? Okay, I'm not hearing any. I'll go ahead and entertain a motion. You're on mute, Mr. Halupka.
Sorry about that. Be it moved that the Baltimore County Planning Board approve the FY 2027 capital budget and FY 2028-2032 capital program and accompanying revised transmittal letter as recommended by the Planning Board Capital Budget and Program Subcommittee for transmittal to the Director of the Office of Budget and Finance.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, everyone. I am going to go ahead and do a roll call vote on that as well. Mr. Array,
Aye.
Mr. Brady,
Aye.
Mr. Duval,
Aye.
Mr. Heckman,
Aye, except for the school budget. I have to recuse myself.
thank you, sir. Mr. Hinton,
Aye.
Mr. Halupka,
Aye.
Mr. Johnson, not here. Ms. Lily,
Aye.
Miss Munises,
Aye.
Miss Pinero,
Aye.
Mr. Schulman,
Aye.
Mr. Tennant.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. I will go ahead and turn things back over to Chair Halupka.
Thank you. I was also going to comment, the concerns that we raised about the need for, the large amount of capital programs, capital items that need to be addressed. I just attended the District 7 Town Hall meeting last night. And if you haven't, they're interesting, but one of the things that Kevin Reed presented was an overview of the county budget. And, he had a handout showing that for FY 27 estimated programming, I don't know how well you can see this, was 50 million. Estimated need is 325 million. And then was, pointing out that over the long term, the county has $2 billion in capital needs. So I don't think, we are certainly not the only ones talking about and aware of these issues. So. Okay. The next item on our agenda is further discussion and vote on the update.
Chair Halupka, if I could, Ms. Nugent's train just pulled in, so if you wouldn't mind if we skip to the council report and then we'll come back to her once she offloads from the train.
No problem. Okay, so we'll now have Ms. Bensley fill us in on legislation recently passed by the county council following our last meeting. And
Thanks so much.
I guess talk slowly.
Seriously. Thank you. Bill 626 zoning regulations, central community hub for the purpose of permitting a central community hub in the OR1 zone or a combination of the DR 5.5 and OR1 zone, establishing signage regulations for a central community hub and generally relating to central community hubs, and Resolution 326, adoption of small area plan number 11, Master Plan 2030, a resolution of the Baltimore County Council to adopt as part of the county's master plan, small area plan number 11, which includes Middle River, Essex, White Marsh, Rossville, and Bowley's Quarters. Small area plan number 11 provides a framework for public and private investment, policy decisions, and capital improvements over the short, medium, and long term. This report establishes a roadmap to prioritize implementation efforts, guide redevelopment and revitalization strategies, and promote a more connected, equitable, and resilient community. And that concludes the report.
Thank you. I guess one
Mr.
thing.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
Two things. First of all, I want to thank the planning board for all their work on the small area plan and the work that you went through. Councilman Marks added a few amendments to the work that you had done, and that became the basis for the vote and the approval. We are now moving into our second small area plan in the southwestern part of the county. Arbutus on south to the line, and are working towards our third small area plan as well around the Liberty Road, Liberty Reservoir. But I also wanted to just share on the data center study that the council directed to the planning board, and not intending whatsoever to cut the board out of any of the activities. We have established an interdepartmental interdepartmental work group on the study that includes probably 8 different agencies. We have set a schedule for every other week meetings that should get us to a public input meeting in late May that the planning board will be expected to convene. This will, as I said, it's a public input meeting. It's not a report at that stage. It's the input that will go into the report, with the expectation that a draft report would be presented to the board in July. Our first meeting with outside parties is this coming Monday, and we're going to be hearing from Frederick County representatives, since Frederick has sort of taken the lead over the last 3 years in putting together sort of how to approach data centers. So as I promised when we met before, try to keep you abreast of how the work is going, and we'll be setting up a separate web page so that people can access information about the data center study as we go forward. And I see that Jen is now firmly seated at the rail station and is available. So unless there's any questions for me, I'll defer to her.
Thank you. Ms. Nugent?
Yes, thank you for your patience. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, so if you all recall, I know it was a little bit of time ago, back in the beginning of November, we brought you the residential section of the CMDP. We, over the last several years, have been tackling this comprehensive document and broke it up into several sections just due to overall department capacity and other projects that have been taking priority. Next slide. So, well, actually, just to recap, we had at that November meeting had some folks show up from the public, made some comments regarding having some more time to review the document. The board, had voted to allow 60 days time to have time for citizens, particularly members of the engineering, development, and consultant communities take a look at the CMDP. And because of the timing of the CIP, we extended that 60-day window just slightly to not overburden and take away from the focus of the CIP by the board. So I just thought Taylor had sent you all the comments that we did receive from the Maryland Home Builders and the Baltimore County Engineers. They got together and collated their comments for us. And those are the that letter that you received earlier today, the 13 comments. And so what I'm doing in the presentation is I will reference which number comment I'm talking about for each slide. Next slide, please. Great. Now I'm trying to, oh wait, is that the right slide? I'm reading from notes and then, oh, could you go back to the previous slide? I'm sorry, Crystal. So the first comment was regarding the scope and the legislative authority of the CMDP. And really back here today to just reiterate that we didn't plan to impose any new legislation, but just to give the document a more modern refresh, scrub the material for outdated terminologies, and to enhance concepts and definitions where we thought they would be applicable. The residential standards of the CMDP are a reflection of the standards that are codified in the zoning regulations and county code. And the residential guidelines are just that. They are design guidelines and concepts that the county narrates and illustrates with the goal of achieving the best design possible for residential development and to enhance the quality of life throughout Baltimore County. Next slide. So with our revisions and addressing MBIA's comments 2, 3, 4, 6, and 7, it mostly pertains to this section that we call our introduction or focus on community. Comments 2 and 3 we received regarded removing language about community review. So, and also introducing new terminology for the document. So we did add back in the paragraph regarding community review and modified it slightly to reflect specifically which outside groups did review this update. And then we also did remove the paragraph describing the update as a living document. That terminology doesn't seem to go over very well with many folks. And so it's not really necessary. So we did remove it. Also, with the focus on community introduction section, we are also proposing to remove the glossary in its entirety. And we really are proposing to do that because there's a lot of inconsistencies, and frankly, it's not really a used section of the CMDP. We don't refer to it. I don't think I've had any instances where anybody else has referred to it except when Ms. Malone brought it to our attention at the last presentation that there was some terminology in there that has been outdated for many, many years. So case in point, I didn't even know it was that outdated. If we do feel that it should be put back in at a later date with updated content, we certainly will propose to bring that back to you for your review and input. And then finally, we did add back in, which was in the original CMDP, this paragraph about applicability of the document. And we're pointing that out because we moved it from a previous section in the current CMDP to this introduction because we feel it's better suited right here up front in the introduction as to how this document is applicable. Next slide. Comment number 5 was a comment made that the document was referencing definitions from the Baltimore County zoning regulation that aren't actually included within that section 101 of the BCZR, which is known as the definitions. I think it was just more of a formatting grammatical thing, to be perfectly honest, where we said as defined, and you could see it here on this page crossed out in red. Wherever a definition was stated as per section 101, we removed it unless it is actually in that section. So again, the intent of the update is to not introduce any new legislative work. Next slide. There was a lot of discussion and controversy over our department in conjunction with the zoning office to, introduce an upgrade or an improved percentage of visitor overflow parking for residential development. And I do want to reinforce, we're not, by making this suggestion, we were not introducing anything new legislatively. And I'd like to point this out because I did get confirmation from zoning today that the guiding regulation for overflow and visitor parking for residential development is the CMDP. It is not codified in the BCZR for residential visitor overflow parking. So that being said, until a wholesale analysis and redo of the zoning regulations in the zoning code is executed, we will propose to, and really, frankly, it was only one change that we made, and I'm showing it here in this slide specifically because if you look at the original black and white table to the far right, this is the original table. And it really is, if we zoom in, I just want to point this out before we move on. If we zoom into that table 3, and number 1, letter B, the multipliers, and we were pointing out type 1, the original was 15%. And that was the only change that we were making. We weren't making wholesale to everything to be 30%. It was really only that type 1 that we had proposed to 30%, but we will propose to keep it as at 15% if the board feels that that's appropriate. So that's pretty much it. We had the last 2 comments, comments 12 and 13. Oh, I'm sorry, to reference, to keep track of the MBIA with regard to this parking issue. If you were following their comment document, those were comments 8, 9, 10, and 11, all referred to the parking. Comments 12 and 13 that we had received from the MBIA were more about zoning policies that are demonstrated in the CMDP, and therefore we don't control zoning policies. And so we are not proposing to make any changes based on those comments. Next slide. And then finally, the other 2 subsections in the residential section are the residential guidelines and the residential compatibility sections. We did not receive any comments from MBIA to make any changes on those, so those remain unchanged and are coming back to you today as unchanged from the previous version in November. And that concludes my follow-up to you all. Oh, sorry, thank you. One last slide. We did find one additional little snafu, and that was on page 11 of the updated version. We had a error about a percentage of garage width. It had said 50%, but it's really in fact 45%, which is what is in keeping with what is referenced in section 260, the Manual of Regulations of the BCZR.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Nugent. Are there any questions for her or just general comments? I am not seeing any hands raised.
Mr. Heckman.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment as of a pain in the neck it was to delay it. I think it was well worth it to get some of this ambiguity out. So thank you for doing that, Jeff.
You're welcome.
I
Any
have a
other?
question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I like I agree with the changes that were made. My question, getting rid of the glossary. If there is a question about how a certain entity is defined, do they BCZR?
A lot of the terms in the glossary are they more related to site design and design guidelines, which we felt that we have demonstrated graphically throughout the document. And some of the other terminology is just outdated. For example, I think we had in there carriage house and, you know, just some things that just we don't even have in the zoning code anymore. So I think that if together with the zoning office, if we have need or time to go back again and do a new glossary, and do it in such a way that we could try and avoid putting in terms that may become outdated. But that's, you know, that's almost impossible to do. I mean, things change over time. But we just didn't feel like it was necessary. I don't ever reference it. I've been here 23 years. I didn't ever even used it. So.
Okay, so I guess the diagrams and everything else, the images negate the need for the glossary.
Exactly. And we did in every image and illustration, we did try and put a little blurb underneath to kind of explain. And if a term, yeah. So
Okay.
I feel like we kind of did capture them there.
Any other questions, comments? I'm not seeing any digital hands. I'm not seeing any real hands. If somebody has a question, speak up. Well, thank you again, Ms. Nugent. If there are no further comments or questions, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
I'll now do a roll call vote. Mr. Array,
Aye.
Mr. Brady,
Aye.
Ms. Brophy. I may have lost her to the beach. Mr. Duvall,
Aye.
Mr. Heckman,
Aye.
Mr. Heinel. Still off. Mr. Hinton,
Aye.
Miss Lilly,
Aye.
Miss Munezes,
Aye.
Miss Pinero,
Aye.
Mr. Schulman, Mr. Tennant.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion carries. I
Mr.
think that
Chairman.
now.
Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, before you move to adjourn, I just want to really praise Jen Nugent, Marta Gocheska, and Sean Frankton and the other planning staff who labored over the entire CMDP for the past couple of years. You've seen both the appendices, the commercial piece, and now finally the residential, updating it and almost making it look like it belongs in the 21st century. And I just think that she and her team have really tried to make this a more modern document and make it more of a living document. Really can't thank them enough. They constantly got pushed into saying, well, why don't you change this law? Why don't you change this code? And they recognized that was not their function, but those are things that need to be considered in the future. But again, Jen and her team just did an awesome job over the past few years. And I think it's important for the planning board to appreciate that.
I agree. Thank you very much. Although that does sort of raise a question, do you have a list of sort of the various recommendations, items that you sort of picked up as you were going through?
Jen?
Oh, is that for me? Oh, yeah,
Uh,
I've been keeping a running list, and you should see my original version of the CMDP. It's got Post-its and markups and highlights. And so, yes, this has been going on many years, and this was something that we endeavored with, a lot of help.
Yeah.
So-
And then is there any thought, do we have a process for trying to address any of this, or is that not even in our purview?
In terms of, oh, you mean changing laws and
changes.
things like that?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think one of the biggest ones is parking. I don't think there's really much else in here. The only legislative changes that would be required would be anything that are in the standards. And that would really something that would come from the zoning office that we would work together with them on, I'm sure.
Yeah. I guess it's just never been clear to me on some of these issues, whether that originates out of the planning board, planning department, zoning department, council. It's never been quite so. But
It could be anybody really, Scott. you
well,
know?
yeah, and the fact that you've gone through and have some thoughts about these things, it would be a shame to lose those insights. So
Yes.
yes, Mr. Duvall.
I just had one question for Mr. Lafferty on the data center meetings that are going to take place. Is there some way that we can get updates after each meeting or summaries of what's being discussed so that we can keep abreast of everything that's going on, so that we're ready when we have to vote on the report?
Great comment. Actually, I've been back and forth today with Tucker Kavanaugh and Brad Croner, who are sort of the other partners in crime here, to figure out what is the best way, whether it's actual physical notes that are converted to minutes, is it the recordings of the meetings, or what other information could be more directly available through a web page. But certainly I can do this at any given board meeting to take 3 or 4 minutes and sort of update on the highlights about what's been discussed, information that's been presented. But I think we're still working through what's the best way to make this publicly available so that people are aware of the issues that have been discussed. And if there are particular issues that you want to have me make sure you are aware of, Mark, happy to do that as well.
Okay, thank you.
It's not about transmission lines across northern Baltimore County. I'll tell you that.
Along the same lines, when you're talking about possibly doing a website, would that be, for example, a repository? You're getting material from Frederick, other counties. Would that be a place where that
Yeah.
could all be accessed?
Yes, that's what we've been discussing. Taylor's and Crystal have been awesome in helping us work through, and Jen Meacham working through how we can set that up.
Sounds good. Thank you. And the public meeting, would that be part of a board meeting or sort of like a CZMP, its own separate?
As of this time, it would be the replacement for your May 21st board meeting. Whether there's other minor business to take care of before a public hearing at 5 o'clock, I'll defer, we'll have to see if there's LPC, council, or anything else that pops up. But Taylor and I were talking about that today, that the meeting would be a public hearing at 5 o'clock. This would be hybrid. This would be our first foray into doing a hybrid public meeting where people could testify online as well as come in person. I know part of my consideration and concern is that the hearing room, as we know, only holds so many people. It's not an auditorium. And so affording people the opportunity to testify online should abate some of that crowdedness, because we know this continues to be an increasingly a concern in so many communities. A lot of it's simply for lack of information, but we want to hear from the public, so we don't want to shut anybody out.
Okay. So we think it will be it will be held at our regular meeting often, not
Right,
in
yes,
high
for
school.
May 21st, which would be the second meeting in May. So that's what the target meeting date would be.
Thank you. And then speaking of meetings, Ms. Bensley, our next meeting is likely to be when?
As of right now, we have 2 additional meetings in March scheduled, March 19th and March 31st. That March 31st meeting was moved from April 2nd due to, I believe, Passover. Right now, we don't have anything scheduled for those meetings, but that could, of course, change. I will keep you posted if they are canceled at least 1 week in advance. But as of right now, nothing on those agendas, but
Okay.
don't quote me on that.
I just wanted to give people a sense of what may or may not be happening.
Sure thing.
Anybody else have any comments, questions at this time? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the board meeting.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all those in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody want to keep on talking? If not, I will see everyone at some point in the near future. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.